This is CTC News with Wesley Kotar, broadcasting from Sint-Eustatius, Dutch Caribbean. Sponsored by Utel NV, Windward Island Bank, Kodo's Purchasing Services, and Duggins Shopping Center.
It's Monday, May 6, 2013 on the Golden Rock. Good evening, I am Wesley Kotar and this is CTC News broadcasting live from CTC Studios in Stations Mall. In tonight's local news, fallen soldiers remembered, nurses kicks off Nurses Week with a walkathon, government to host town hall meeting May 14th. Details in local news right after this.
Thinking about building your home or business? Well, you can check us out at City Creativity. Here we can design or take your design and ideas and add our touch of creativity to architectural drawings and details which will build your future home or business. At City Creativity there are two options. Option 1, our basic prints which includes all floor plans and details with 3D views of the exterior. Option 2, our advanced prints which includes all floor plans, details, 3D views of the exterior and interior with realistic pictures of the entire property, giving you a direct look into your future. Give us a call at 318-1627 or 318-4664. City Creativity, where creativity stands out.
CTC News, sponsored by Utel NV, Windward Island Bank, Kodo's Purchasing Services, and Duggins Shopping Center.
The wreath placed at Fort Orania on Remembrance Day on Saturday was presented to Island Governor Gerald Burkle and Acting Island Governor Kenneth Lopes by Angelica Ridan, whose father died in World War II, and Stanley Van Putten Sr., whose uncle had also lost his life in the war. The solemn ceremony in remembrance of fallen soldiers was held throughout the Dutch kingdom. Lopes said, "The kingdom and the world have progressed because of their soldiers' sacrifice. We pay tribute and gratitude and honor for these fallen heroes." Sister Atelda Woodley Warner reflected on those who gave their lives in the war. "Those that died, they gave something. It cost them something," she said. "It cost them their lives." She told the gathering to also remember the people who suffered in the concentration camps. Nurses of Princess Beatrix Medical Center and the Auxiliary Home in Sint-Eustatius, led by a drum band, marched from FDR Airport to the capital Oranjestad on Sunday to mark the start of Nurses Week. A lecture by a visiting cardiologist was scheduled to be delivered on Sunday in the Auxiliary Homes Conference Center. The island government is inviting the entire community of Sint-Eustatius to participate in the upcoming town hall meeting on Tuesday, May 14, 2013, from 7:30 until 10:30 p.m. at the Ernest Van Putten Youth Center. The government wants to talk with you about the constitutional developments which we are experiencing since Statia has left the constellation of the Netherlands Antilles and the changes that are the result of the present status as public entity which we obtained on October 10, 2010. The negative aspects and how these are addressed, as well as the positive aspects of the public entity status, will be highlighted, while attention will be given to the various services which have been transferred to the Kingdom Government, debating the efficiency effects hereof. Our keynote speaker will be Professor Arjan van Rijn, a constitutional expert who will give a presentation and gladly answer any questions you may have about the constitutional process, the status we are in, and the possible options there are for the future. After the various presentations of the individual panelists, there will be an opportunity for the general public to pose questions to the panel. The panel will comprise of Island Council members Mr. Ruben Merkman, Mrs. Millicent Lijvrak Marsden, Mr. Reginald Zandam, and Mr. Franklin Brown. Other panelists are Island Governor Gerald Burkle, Commissioner of Constitutional Affairs Mr. Ko Snake, and Professor Arjan van Rijn. The discussions are expected to be very interesting and dynamic, so don't miss this opportunity to have your input in this important session. Coming up next in regional news, Helmeen Wills shot and killed, NA-led coalition loses support, new government with UPDP Laville. Details in regional news right after this break.
CTC News, sponsored by UTLNV, Wynwood Island Bank, Kodo's Purchasing Services, and Duggins Shopping Center.
Welcome back. We have reached our regional segment for this evening and later international news. Leader of Curaçao Coalition Party, Pueblo Soberano, PS, Helmeen Magno Wills was shot and killed at the Maripampoon Pier Sunday afternoon. Bystanders heard 6 shots at the public beach and fishing port near the spot where fish and soup are sold under a tree, 5 of which apparently hit the Member of Parliament. Wills, who apparently came there to buy something as he has often done, was left lying motionless, face down on the ground following the incident. Unconfirmed reports said 2 young men with their heads covered in hoods were seen running away right after the shooting, but there was no immediate word on a possible motive. Paramedics upon their arrival covered the face of the politician, indicating that he had passed away. Relatives and supporters of the victim were also on hand, many of them crying and angry about what had happened. During a hastily called press conference at the Council of Ministers last night, Prime Minister Daniel Hodge called what happened terrible and condemned such in the strongest terms. These are things that don't happen here, he added, hinting that Wills may have been targeted. Police received the call just before 5 p.m. Under guidance of several prosecutors, they immediately collected evidence, including empty bullet cartridges, on the scene and started interviewing witnesses, while steps were taken to protect the democratic institutions on the island. Navarro confirmed that Wills had been provided with a security detail as of late, but preferred not to use it on weekends for reasons of privacy. Police Chief Wernet said all uniformed services were activated to hunt down the killers, including the Coast Guard, to ensure they don't get away by boat. He would not answer a question about the getaway car supposedly having been found, wherein it said they would accept help from all possible sources, including other countries, to help solve this crime that shocked the local community. PS fraction member Ivar Ashes said Curaçao had lost a great leader, but that would not stop the movement he started. There will be new people to take over the struggle. He called on the party's militants to stay calm but alert, as this is simply unacceptable. Further tonight in regional news, it appears that the National Alliance, NA-led coalition, has lost its majority just about 3 weeks before completing its first year in office. Coalition partners, Democratic Party members of Parliament, Leroy De Weaver and Roy Marlin, together with independent MP Romain Laville, have pulled their support from the government. According to information received by the Daily Herald, the 3 MPs reportedly are to join forces with opposition United People's Party to form a new 8-seat government in the coming days. This will be a government supported by a 1-seat majority. A document outlining that the NA-led coalition had lost its majority was delivered to Prime Minister Sarah Westcott Williams on Sunday evening, bearing the signatures of the MPs who had withdrawn their support. A letter of willingness to form a new government was expected to be submitted today, on Monday. Notification also would be sent to Governor Eugene Holliday. All parties involved in the negotiations have been very tight-lipped about the proceedings. However, indications are that Heiliger will go to Parliament and a semi-professional cabinet will be appointed to continue the affairs of the country in the lead-up to general elections next year. To keep this latest coalition stable, indications are that Laville will resign from Parliament to become a minister, possibly of Tourism and Economic Affairs. His resignation will create the possibility for Heiliger to return to Parliament. The break in the coalition reportedly is based on the dissatisfaction of DP parliamentarians and Laville with the way issues have been dealt with in the coalition. Whether Westcott Williams will remain Prime Minister or opt to go to Parliament, replacing either De Weaver or Roy Marling, is not yet known. If she stays on as Prime Minister, this will be the Westcott Williams Cabinet number 3. In international news, stress study offers clues for new antidepressant drugs. Scientists have worked out the way in which stress hormones reduce the number of new brain cells, a process linked to depression, and say their work should help researchers develop more effective antidepressants. The scientists identified a protein largely responsible for the long-term detrimental effect of stress on cells. They also successfully used an experimental drug compound to block this effect, pointing to a possible way of developing new antidepressants, the study published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Science said. Major depression affects about 20% of people at some time in their lives. The World Health Organization predicts that by 2020, depression will rival heart disease as the health disorder with the highest global disease burden. Treatment for depression involves either medication or counseling, and often a combination of both. But while there are many antidepressants on the market, including top sellers such as Prozac and Serosac, it is widely accepted that many antidepressants work in only half of patients half of the time, and drug makers are struggling to come up with a new generation of drugs. Depression is linked to change in a process called neurogenesis, the ability of the adult brain to continue producing new brain cells. At a molecular level, stress is known to increase levels of hormone called cortisol, which in turn acts on the receptor called glucocorticoid receptor. But the exact mechanism behind this process has been unclear. A team under Carmine Pariante of King's College London's Institute of Psychiatry, who led the research, studied human hippocampal stem cells, source of new cells in the human brain. They gave the cells cortisol to measure the effect on neurogenesis and found that a protein called SGK1 was important in meditating the effects. By measuring the effect of cortisol over time, they found that increased levels of SGK1 prolonged the damaging impact of stress hormones on neurogenesis. Next, the researchers used an experimental drug compound known to inhibit SGK1 and found it blocked the negative effects of stress hormones, leading to an increase in new brain cells. The team confirmed the results by studying levels of SGK1 in animals and then blood samples from people with depression. Coming up next after the break, your 3-day weather forecast for the islands of Seychelles, Saba, and St. Martin. Stay tuned for details on local weather conditions right after this.
Education is the #1 driving force in a successful future. But great parenting prepares a child for the challenges to come and motivates any child to accomplish and succeed. Be your child's role model and be the best parent you can be. Learn great parenting guides and strategies at www.parenting.org.
Motivate and educate. So let's start giving. There's a choice we're making.
CTC News, sponsored by UTLNV, Wynwood Island Bank, Kodo's Purchasing Services, and Duggins Shopping Center.
And now for our weather report on Statia. We'll begin with Station Saba, correction. Tonight, Monday, May 6, scattered showers with temperatures of 84 degrees Fahrenheit, 60% chances of rain with winds east at 11 miles per hour. Tomorrow, Tuesday, May 7th, AM showers with temperatures of 82 degrees Fahrenheit, 60% chances of rain with the winds east at 13 miles per hour. On Wednesday, May 8th, scattered showers with temperatures of 83 degrees Fahrenheit, 60% chances of rain with winds east at 15 miles per hour. Now on to St. Martin. Tonight, May 6th, scattered showers with temperatures of 84 degrees Fahrenheit, 30% chances of rain with winds southeast at 5 miles per hour. Tomorrow, Tuesday, May 7th, AM showers with temperatures of 84 degrees Fahrenheit, 30% chances of rain with the winds southeast at 8 miles per hour. Finally, on Wednesday, May 8th, scattered showers with temperatures of 84 degrees Fahrenheit, 30% chances of rain with the winds east-southeast at 10 miles per hour. That concludes another edition of CTC News Live for this evening. Join us again on Wednesday as we bring you the more current updates. But until next time, do have a good one.